Hello everyone, myself Priyanka and today we are back again in this channel to complete our further lecture. So as we were discussing about the theory of justice in our last class, that is the second topic of our UPSC's Polities paper 1. Okay. So in our earlier lectures, we have already dealt with the concept of justice, what actually it means in philosophical context, in practical context. We also discussed about in which society is the theory of justice actually applicable, right? In which society we could apply this concept of justice. Then we also dealt about what is the exact relation between equality, justice and liberty. How these three concepts are not a contrast of each other, but they are just complementary to each other. That is, they cannot be practiced separately. They could be practiced or they could prevail in any society only when it is applied altogether, right? Like justice cannot be practiced without the concept of equality. Equality cannot be practiced without the concept of liberty. So as. Now, in today's lecture, we will be basically completing our further topic, that is the Plato's theory of justice, Aristotle's theory of justice, and then we also come to know about what is legal justice, political justice and socio-economic justice. Okay. So without wasting much of our time, let's start with our Plato's theory of justice. So Plato actually advocated that justice in a society could prevail when we start to control, change and develop the individuals. That is, this concept of justice and the power to practice justice in any society lies in the hands of individuals. What Plato advocated that every man in a society, if they are just in their own sense, right? Whatever activity they are doing, if they are doing their activity, like if they are doing only their sphere of activity and they are doing it with full efficacy, then we can say that society is just. Let us take an example that Plato advocated, right, about his theory of justice. He said, if in a society soldier is just in his sense, then he should be very courageous. He should only have a dominant trait of courage. Okay, other traits also he will have because he is a human being, but only trait that he should feel and he should practice is about courage. He should be a very brave man. Until and unless a soldier is not a brave man, we cannot say that society is just. Plato says that no issues, every individual might be just in their sense, okay, but there should be only one specific dominant trait, one specific community that should rule the entire society. Everyone is just in their sense, that's okay, that are actually practicing justice in their own sphere. But the dominant trait that should rule the society should be of reason. Okay, that is a person who have the capability to figure out things, what is wrong and what is right. That is the person who has the capability of rationality, right? Who has the trait of rationality. Now, in that context only, Plato says that a soldier might be courageous, okay, and an ordinary man might be self-controlled. Ordinary man means a man with least powers or no powers at all. What they should do, what is their sphere of justice, that they should be self-controlled, they should obey their authorities, every rules and regulations they should follow, right? They might be justice, they might be just in their sense, but the only community that would rule the society would be of the philosopher kings. Why? Because they have the wisdom. So wisdom should prevail in the entire society. Wisdom should be the most superior trait out of all. Hence, a society could be said just. Okay. So this was all about the Plato's theory of justice. Now switch to Aristotle's theory of justice. As Plato advocated that justice lies, or the power of justice lies within the individual, okay, lies with the individuals. Aristotle, on the other hand, do not advocate this theory. He says that justice is about changing the societal norms, okay. We do not have to change, control and develop the individuals. We actually have to change and develop the societal norms, because according to Aristotle, these societal norms and the scenario that prevails in any society, that is the only reason of the injustice prevailing in any society. So, we must maintain the social justice by maintaining the social order of any society. We should change the societal norms of the society, and only then we could practice the theory of justice. Okay. Now, according to Aristotle's theory of justice, the impact of justice should be in such a way that the human relation should be regulated, right? Why do we maintain social order, or why do we have a social order at all, right? Why do we have regulations, policies in our society? So as to maintain the relation between individuals, right? That is, the individual's relation should be harmonious means peaceful, right? Now, Aristotle advocates that in order to maintain and regulate human relations in society, that is to maintain the social order in society, we should have three kinds of justice. Okay, he proposed three types of justice. First is distributive justice, then retributive justice, and then commutative justice. That is, distributive justice should be the power of the legislator. That the legislator means the ones who formulates the laws and regulations and policies of any society, right? So according to Aristotle, this power of maintaining distributive justice should prevail in the hands of the legislator. Distributive justice, according to Aristotle, means that the power of, or the equitable distribution of resources. That is, we are allocating the resources according to the merits of the people, right? There should exist equity in allocation of the resources. Now, this is the concern of the legislator according to the Aristotle. Now, Aristotle also talks about the retributive justice. Now, what is retributive justice? So, retributive justice is a kind of justice where if any individual of society has harmed the rights of any other individual or has damaged any property, any possession of the other individual, then the judges of that society must take care of it, that the person who has harmed or caused any kind of losses should be punished and they should pay back all the losses. Okay, so what is retributive justice according to Aristotle? That is punishing the lawbreakers or punishing the violators of any laws or rights of any individuals. And whose area of concern is that? That is the area of concern of the judges. Now, he also talks of another kind of justice, that is commutative justice. So, according to Aristotle, commutative justice means that if there is any kind of misnegotiation between the traders, that is, if any kind of promise has not been fulfilled in any trade, right? If there are any kind of we can say corruptions in the trade, then the judges must take care of it, that these negotiations or those promises that has not been fulfilled should be fulfilled. In this case, that is in commutative justice, there should not be any kind of punishment, but yes, the judges must ensure that there had not been any kind of injustices done to either of the party of the traders. Okay, so these are the three kinds of justices that the Aristotle talks about. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, now that we have completed our traditional aspect of justice, that is Plato's and Aristotle's theory, let's discuss about some other concepts of justice, that is legal justice, political justice and socio-economic justice. Let's try to understand these topics. So legal justice means what justice actually means from a legal point of view. So we can understand legal justice in two ways. What are those two ways? First, we can say law according to justice, and second, we can understand legal justice by another aspect, that is justice according to law. So we'll take help of, two great philosophers to understand these topics. To understand justice according to law, we can take reference of Alf Ross, right? Alf Ross advocated that justice in society should prevail according to law. By this he meant that if we try to infer laws, that if we try to make laws according to societal norms, that is according to ethical values of people in that society, I think we are taking a huge risk by implementing or by giving responsibility of such a huge concept, that is of justice, such important concept of justice in the in the hands of some superstitions might be, or in the hands of, according to Alf Ross, in the hands of some stupid norms. According to him, these ethical values of people, that is that's not uniform even, is stupid. So Alf Ross says that in society, justice should prevail according to existing laws. That means there should be no question on laws. Whatever laws says should be implemented in the society. There shouldn't be any if and but. According to Alf Ross, the injustices or the instability prevailing in the society is not because of the bad laws existing, but it is because of the authority given to the judges to change and question the laws. So according to Alf Ross, there shouldn't be any kind of changes. There shouldn't be any kind of alterations in the existing or prevailing laws. That is, as per the need of the society, we do not need to change any laws. Okay, these laws are the supreme power, and we should follow the justice according to those laws. According to the need of the hour, we do not need to change any kind of laws. We do not need any alteration. If we go on changing, if we go on altering the laws, the existing laws, I think our society will be unstable. That is what Alf Ross has advocated. So first meaning of the legal justice we could understand by Alf Ross's theory or Alf Ross advocation. Now, second we could understand by Ernest Barker's theory. Ernest Barker actually advocates that in society we can say something is a law by two features of it. First of all, it is valid. That means it has its validity, legitimacy it has. And secondly, everyone in the society is obliged to follow it. These two features makes any rules a law. Okay. Otherwise, we also have rules in our schools, in hospitals, in our offices, but those are not laws. How can we say that it's a law? That means it is uniform to everyone. Everyone is obliged to follow it. Also, it has legitimacy. That means everyone has given their consent to their laws. Everyone is agreeing to it. So, Ernest Barker says that if there exists a law in a society, then definitely everyone would be obliged, or it is mandatory for everyone to obey it. But that law could be said valuable, or that law could be said a very good law or declared a good law, until and unless, could not be declared a good law until and unless everyone is accepting and following that law with their own inner conscience, right? That means not only by force, but also through, that is by outward force, but also through your inner conscience, you should follow a law. That means until and unless you're not believing that a particular kind of rule or law is beneficial for you, it is really good for you, it is really good for your society, for your well-being and everyone's well-being, you will not follow it with your whole heart, right? So that's what Ernest Barker says. Ernest Barker says that these societal norms should influence the lawmaking. Whatever law is made, okay, and whatever law that is existing also should tally with the existing societal norms, that is the ethical values of the people. If it will not tally as such, then everyone would just be formally accepting it. It would not make people happy, right? So according to Ernest Barker, ultimately what is the role of the law? So role of the law is to make people happy and satisfied. That's what justice according to Ernest Barker means. But Alfred says that what is the role of the law? The role of the law is to just make society peaceful and stable. If society is being stable, by any means, make it. Okay, there is no need. There's no absolute need of following every ethical values, respecting every norms of people. That's not required. So I hope this concept of legal justice is clear to everyone, right? Next, we'll also be discussing about political and socio-economic justice, and then we'll also switch to John Rawls' theory of justice, the most important topic of the theory of justice.